Right, 3.5, polynomials of the form x squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so we're going to start doing some factoring here, and factoring is something that is not going to leave you. We do factoring right up through high school into university if you continue with it. Factoring is a big base here that we're working on. So first, let's start with expanding. So I've hinted at this throughout. They are very similar. They are sort of the reverse things. So being comfortable with our multiplication will help us with our factoring. So first I expand this. I multiply the 3 into both terms so that I have 3 times 2. I'm just going to write that, plus 3 times negative 5a. So 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times negative 5a, 6 minus 15a. Okay, and on this side, I'm factoring it. So I'm looking what is my greatest common factor of these terms, and both 6 and 15 can be divided by 3. So I'm going to put my 3 here outside of the brackets, and 6 divided by 3 is 2, and minus 15 divided by 3, which is 5, and the a along for the ride. So I've expanded, I've factored, I'm sort of going back and forth between the two forms as I do this, but notice just how similar the process is as well. That's important, especially this next question here. So we're going to multiply using the distributive property and consider how we form the b and c values of the polynomial. So what this is saying, I'm going to multiply this up. I'm going to use the distributive property, not the area method, distributive property, and then we're going to talk about b and c. So that's the number in front of the term with an x, and the coefficient, the constant that doesn't have an x with it. So distributive property, x times x plus x times 3 plus 5 times x plus 5 times 3. So I end up with x squared plus 3x plus 5x plus 15. And I can group these like terms. I'll get x squared plus 8x plus 15. Okay, so my b value, that's right here. And my c value is right here. So this is b, and this is a c value, right? B is the coefficient in front of the x. C is my constant term. So how am I getting 15? I'm going to change color. I'm going to go into the greens. So 15. I'm going to follow that one up. Well, it's 15 here too. But okay, it's 5 times 3. And where are my 5 and 3's coming from? Right here. 5 times 3. So I'm going to write that. 15 equals 5 times 3. Okay, let me change color again. Let's look at my b term, my 8x. Well, I've got 3x plus 5x. And where do my 3 and 5 come from? Well, right here as well. So 8, and write it as 5 plus 3. My b term, which is 8, and my c term, which is 15. Right? Notice how similar they are. This is 5 times 5 plus. my 5's here, my 3's here. So what this means, since factoring and expanding are inverse processes, we know that we will end up with x plus a number times x plus a number. We know by the expanding process that the two integers in the binomial will add to the b value and multiply to the c value. I'm just going to say x plus a number times x plus a number. Right, so I need to multiply to my c, add to the b. So let's look at an example. Let's factor this. So I'm going to start by looking at the 7. So I need factors of 7 that have a sum of -8. Okay, well 7, my factors of 7 are only 1 and 7, and -1 and -7. And if I need them to add to my -8, I'm going to need to use negative numbers. So in this section, having a good knowledge of your multiplication tables is helpful, but remember you have your calculator. You can try numbers out and see if it's going to work out for yourself. So I'm going to know right off the bat that I'm going to have binomials x and x. It's because I need an x squared and x minus 1 and x minus 7. And that's it. Right? So I'm getting these values because they are factors of 7 that have a sum of -8. Now, it's always a good idea to verify. And when we verify, we expand. And so x times x, that's x squared. X times -7x, -7x. -1 times x, -x. -1 times -7. Well, a negative times a negative is a positive. And I can combine these like terms. So x squared minus 8x plus 7. Right, and that is how we factor. Right, more practice. And the more practice you do with factoring, the better, the more comfortable you're going to feel with it, the better it's going to go for you. So practice, practice, practice. So let's factor the following trinomial, and careful with the negative sign. So I need factors of -18 that have a sum of +7. So when I have a negative c value, I know that I'm going to have x plus something times x minus something. Because the only way that I'm going to get a negative number when I multiply is if my signs are different, if I have a positive times a negative. So I know I am going to have one of them positive and one of them negative. Okay, so I need to have a sum of +7. Well, let's see, what are my factors of 18? Well, I've got 1 and 18, but that's not very helpful right now. I've got 3 and 6, right? 1 and 18, that doesn't work. 3 and 6, I can't get that to equal +7. But 2 and 9. 2 and 9 I'm interested in because 9 minus 2 is 7. So what that means, right, 9 times negative 2 is negative 18. And 9 plus negative 2 is plus 7. Right, a bit of a hint or a trick is if my b value is positive, my bigger factor, so in this case the 9, is going to be positive as well. So I have x plus 9 times x minus 2. So questions you might be having, where am I getting these numbers from? That is from my factors. So I'm looking at factors of the c value, which in this case is negative 18. Yes, I need to keep track of the signs. So if this is negative, I'm going to have one of my numbers will be negative as well. If this is positive, that means they're both the same variable. They might both be positive or both negative, but then it will be the same. But if I don't know that, or if it is negative, then I need to be careful because one will be negative too. Okay, and this question here, in this section, it's the big question. Because we haven't looked at it something quite like this before. I've got negative 4t squared minus 16t plus 128. So these are, first of all, big numbers. But I haven't told you how to deal with this negative 4. And what we're going to do is what you should always try to do, right? Our next session, we're going to talk about what if there's a number there. But in this section, if there's a number there, it'll work each time, but always try it. I'm going to try to GCF factor it because I want to get rid of this negative 4. And negative 16 is divisible by negative 4. And 128, I think that's divisible by 4 too. And I'm going to check in my calculator. It is indeed. So I am taking out a negative 4. That's because for the rest of my factoring to work out, I need this to just be t squared. I can't have a negative there. I can't have a number there. So I'm dividing by negative 4. Remember, I don't lose this negative 4 when I factor. It just gets dropped over there. So negative 4 divided by negative 4 is just 1. So I'm left with my t squared. Negative 16 divided by negative 4, that'll be positive 4, and my t along for the ride. And plus 28 divided by negative 4 is negative 32. All right, so I have now gotten rid of my negative 4 out there. Just going to make that a bit neater. Perfect. So, same process as before. I need factors of my c value. So factors of negative 32, which will add to plus 4. Right now, to help myself out, I like to just write these binomials right away. Now these are t's because this is a t. Right? I'm going to use whichever variable they give me is what I'm going to use here. So if they give me x's, I use x's. They give me t's, I use t's, p's, n's. It doesn't matter, just use what they use. So factors of negative 32. This is now a negative, so I'm going to be looking at one being positive and one negative. Again, I like to fill in my signs as I figure this out. It helps keep me on track so I don't miss anything up. And now factors of 32. Well, I know it's divisible by 2, so that's 2 and 16, but that's not going to get me to plus 4. Let's try something else. Well, 32 is 4 and 8. 4 times 8 is 32. And that's promising because 8 minus 4 is 4. And since I need a negative 32, I put my negative with my 4. And again, this is a positive number, so my bigger factor is going to be positive, and my 4 is negative. So I know right now it doesn't feel great, right? These numbers feel like magic, but they are factors of my C value, and they need to add to the B value. So I'm going through step by step, finding factors of the C value and stopping when I find one that are going to add to that number in the middle that I need. Practice is key here. So I've got lots of practice for you from the textbook. I've got some questions as well in a worksheet for you. Do the practice. All right, go through the steps. That is going to make a huge difference in this section, and I will know if you've done it or not, and you'll certainly feel the difference too after you've finished it. So do the work. If you're still struggling, sit down with me. We can talk through it. One-on-one help is going to be huge. It'll make a big difference, but I can't do that. I can't help you if you don't take the help. You don't come for help. So I want to see you if I need to see you. All right, keep it up.